Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, let's analyze the level of intelligence, or maybe the level of weaselness of Kaja Kallas, the foreign minister, if you want, of the European Union, and the president of the European Commission. The president of the European Union, let's put it that way, because there's no other. She goes all around and she represents Europe. So they say it's only the president of the European Commission. Okay, well, if you're the president of the European Commission, how you were appointed, you were confirmed, and what kind of powers do you have? Well, I'm going to show you. She has power to tell people how they should spend $2 billion. $2 billion. That's it, my friends. 2,000 millions. That's all. Well, let me start with Miss Kaja Kallas. Remember, I'm not here to bash a group or anything like that, but we're told, unfortunately, about toxic masculinity and all this garbage, and about the compassion coming from the other side. I have to remind you that the British Empire, with all its colonization and crimes and good things it did, they had a queen in charge. So take it however you want. The British Empire, which I think it was the biggest empire of all of them, no other empire was bigger than that, was led by a woman. And an empire, by definition, is something that you have an... Okay, let's start with what's going on with Kaja Kallas. Europe may decide on Russian assets in the coming days, British expert. Okay, well, no problem. They will decide on that. Why? Because Europe just robbed Russia of its assets and does whatever it wants with Russian assets. European Union moved $4.7 billion from frozen Russian assets to Ukraine. They decided that that money that is not theirs goes to another guy. And then we have this person called Kaja Kallas who's going to make sense for us why that happens. And I will tell you. All right, Kaja Kallas, she was the former, I think it was the president of, or the prime minister of Estonia, wasn't she? Regardless, president or prime minister, I think she was the president. Estonia has the population of 1.3 million people. So remember, I will always repeat this. If you heard me say that, just move forward. From 1.3 million people, she was just picked and appointed as the foreign minister of the European Union. More than 450 million people. 1.5, 450. So it's like from janitor to the super CEO. Why? She invented, I don't know, the cure of cancer. I don't know what she did. She went to Mars and back in 3 seconds. She had some big achievements, like what? I would like you, if you like this person, to support her candidacy to that position. What did she do? Tell me, what does she have in her resume that shows and gives her the chance to be, considered? Tell me one thing she did. I would like you to tell me what kind of peace process, what she did. I tell you, nothing. So, then she comes and says here, reparations loan to Ukraine based on Russian assets does not violate international law. European Union chief diplomat Kallas says, okay, all right, I know that when in our Greco-Roman civilization, when you make a claim, you have to bring evidence to support the claim. So if I say that he is good and he is bad, I have to say why, right? So she's going to give us her logic. I would like you to join me in reading her logic on why it does not violate the international law. Remember, international law is clear. It's clear right there. International law is at the United Nations. That's international law. International law is in the United Nations. And when the United Nations votes on something based on the international law, then you fight guilty, not guilty, and then there are repercussions, military action, sanctions from United Nations, with which the European Union agrees with that. All these guys are okay. So, right there. So remember, reparations loan to Ukraine. So that means she will take Russia's money from the receipts, from the whatever their, how do you call it, not commission, interest yields, and they will loan it to Ukraine. Ukraine supposedly will pay it back, even though Ukraine is in debt $192 billion dollars, and they're going to pay it back to whom? To the Russians? Eventually, right? Because it's a loan with a Russian money. So are they working for the Russians eventually? I don't know. So this is what she says. Kaja Kallas, European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, she has no credentials for that, has said the idea of a reparation loan to Ukraine using frozen Russian assets in Europe does not, as such, violate international law. What do you mean, does not as such? Does not violate international law. Does not as such. Is already a backdoor. Got it? So this is what she says. So here it is. Discussing 140 billion euros reparations loan to Ukraine using frozen Russian assets. It's 140 billion. I can't put a deadline. She decides. She can't. She's an appointed person. She was not elected by anybody. She was not elected by, and she tells us, I can't put a deadline. We, who's we, are trying to do this as fast as possible. Why are we involved? All right, Kallas explained that Russia could either pay Ukraine reparations in the future, allowing Ukraine to repay the EU and Russia to recover its money, or Russia could refuse and forfeit the frozen assets. So there's no other option. So it's like I come towards a woman and say, baby doll, you have two options. One, you're going to have sex with me in the next 5 minutes, or you're going to have sex with me right now. How about no, I don't have sex with you whatsoever. So this is the offer these guys give. You either pay right now or you're done with it. If you don't agree with the first option, the second option, that means it's not your money. That means automatically we decided that the rule of the game is, it's like I ask you, you don't want to talk to me. And I say, so will you give me $100,000? And you don't answer. And I say, if you don't answer, that means yes. I made the rule. It does not mean yes if you keep quiet, but I made the rule. You're going to give me $100,000. And you say, and I decree, this is the rule I made. You didn't have to agree with it. If you keep quiet, since you kept quiet, that means you agreed. I agreed to punch you in the face. That's basically my interpretation. So this is what this person says. The basic principle of international law is that you have to cover the damages you have caused. Okay, how about Israel? Crickets. All right, and who decides that? And says Russia is causing tremendous damage in Ukraine. Is the European Union causing damage to Russia? Yes. Is the European Union at war with Russia? No. So you owe the Russians then, because you, with your sanctions and your military aid, weapons and everything else that you give to those guys, you cause Russia damage. Russia did not cause you damage. Maybe Russia owes Ukraine damage, but not you. But you definitely caused Russia damage. You caused Russia damage. You have to pay then. No? Of course now. No, this is Kaja Kallas. Imagine she meets Lavrov or Peter Siarto of Hungary, or I don't know, Dr. Jay Shankar of India, or Wang Yi of China. She would not make it. Here it is. Russia is causing tremendous and it is not right that anybody else should pay for this. But who says anybody else? Nobody said there's no rule that anybody else should pay for this. You inserted yourself in the equation, other than Russia. This is the basis of the law. You got it? What law? Can you name it for me? 345, Article 5, letter E. When we have to develop the rules, when we have, this is, you see, when we have to develop it further, I mean, we can do that like we have done with international tribunals, which were illegal, the ones in Nuremberg. They invented new crimes, like we have done with many things that did not exist before. Yeah, abused it. That's what you did. Kallas was also asked whether the plan might deter investors from third countries if it sets a precedent for seizing assets held in Europe. This is a clear, logical question. And let's see what she says. If you don't start a war against another country, then you're out of the risk. And I think that majority of the countries, the majority of the people, and the majority of the companies in the world will not start wars against other countries. Hey. Have you heard about Iran? Did Iran start a war? Did Iran start a war? Let's say with Israel or anybody else? So why do you guys throw some assets over there? And I think the majority of the countries, how do you know that? Tell me the number. How do you know that? Based on what? And I think the majority, like how many? You don't know because you just made up. The majority of the people, how do you know that? And the majority of the companies in the world will not start wars against other countries. She's an imbecile. I would like you to go and get a book. I can show you, but take any country you want, and you're gonna see that I don't think that's one country on this planet, maybe Costa Rica, that started a war or fought the war. Everybody else, and you know what? I remember now what my father told me when I came from, I was in the 4th grade. We started history in Romania, communist Romania, and our educator said, Romania never invaded any countries, which was a lie. But anyway, going to the Balkan Wars, going to the Hungary in 1920, and nevertheless, and I remember I came home very proud to tell my father that how good we, the Romanians, are, man. We're the best. And why? Because that's how they taught us. Like anybody else teaches their children, unless you want to destroy a country, that you owe someone something. That's what's happening over here. So, okay, all right. So what happened? And I said, Tata, did you listen to this? Our teacher told us that Romania never invaded a country. We always never attacked a country. We're all good and so on. And my father said, do you think it's because we were good or maybe because we are impotent? I remember I was in the 4th grade after all. So certain countries cannot afford starting a war against other countries because they know from the get-go they will lose. So the same here. Yeah, it's true, probably the majorities, but the ones that matter started many wars. Let's see how did the United States of America pay reparations to Iraq? Listening. Crickets. Tell me. And did anybody pay reparations to, let's say, Yugoslavia? Yugoslavia did not start a war, did it? It started a war against what country exactly? And if it was an internal affair, did it start a war against NATO? NATO owed reparations to Yugoslavia. And so on. Syria, again, is owned reparations. Iran is owned reparations by the Americans who attacked their nuclear facilities. Did they attack the United States of America? No. Israel bombarded Qatar, struck Qatar, and they're thinking striking it again. Is that attacking or not attacking? Or it's in self-defense? Kaya Kallas, you're a fuck up, all right? That's what it is. And let's go to the next one. And here is how an unelected official, why do I say unelected? When you have, she was confirmed, okay? She is the president of the European Commission. So this is a European Commission with elected people. Someone is catapulted from somewhere based on her credentials again. Miss von der Leyen, right there. Miss von der Leyen was at one point the defense minister of Germany. That's it. A minister of a country, defense minister. That's it. Not a present defense minister means you're an unelected official. Okay? Unelected. As Kallas was catapulted unelectedly to be the foreign minister of the European Union. So did von der Leyen. Von der Leyen was picked from, I don't know by whom exactly. Can you guess? Picked and put in front of the Commission, the European Commission, and they said, are you going to validate her? Are you going to confirm her or no? And those guys said yes. And she became the president of the European Commission, in charge of them. That's how Miss von der Leyen became the president of the European Union. Because when someone goes to represent the European Union, she's the one. She's not a spokesperson, isn't she? No, because this is what she says what she says. Von der Leyen says, half of 4 billion euros, which is $4.2 billion or so, provided to Ukraine by the European Union on October 1st, should go towards drones. She said that? She decided that? The European Union expects by her saying that. So she said it in the name of the European Union, expects that 2 billion euros out of the 4 billion euros transferred to Ukraine by the European Union on Wednesday, October 1st, will be invested in drones. Got it? If it comes to Ukraine, if we all agree that Ukraine is our first line of defense, no, I don't agree, and you don't want consensus, by the way, or unanimity, we have to step up the military support for Ukraine. She was a defense minister of Germany. Don't you think that she was promoted by those interests? I think that's who they were. This is the reason why today we are disbursing 4 billion euros for Ukraine. You got it? 2 billion of that will be invested in drones, she specified. Got it? So, my friends, first lie. Ukraine is not the first line of defense of the European Union. You can make it. You can make, if you want, Hungary the first one. If a war starts in Hungary, Hungary is going to be the first one. Why? Wait until it gets to them. When it gets to them, they're done. How about Russia is the first? Against whom? They already pointed the enemy, Russia. If you look over the map, my friends, and I'm going to show you the map just so we are all on it. Who do you think Ukraine is the first line of defense? Right here. Ukraine is right here. This is Russia. So obviously Russia is the enemy. So she already pinpointed Russia is the enemy. This is the first one. How about Belarus? Is Belarus the first line of defense? No. Is Latvia? Against whom? Against you? By the time they get to London, the main office of this snake, it's a lot of countries that they have a buffer zone. When this guy's gonna get right here, they're gonna think that they're gonna behave like Hitler in Dunkirk, sparing the imbeciles. Do you think the Russians will do that? I don't think so. Do you think that Operation Sea Lion, wasn't that the bombardment of Great Britain, which the imbecile Goering was incapable of securing? Do you think that the Russians will not be able to sink London and Great Britain? I think they would. They could. A different game right now. We don't send only some bombers like imbeciles trying to get over the Spitfires over there. And the brave English, British, however you want to call them, they defended the island. We'll defend the island, whatever we do there, we'll fight them on the beaches, on the landing ground, and we'll never surrender. We will surrender when they get close to me. That's where Churchill would have surrendered. But until then, you fight. You are the first line of defense. I'm right here. Yes, we're gonna fight them. You go, you go, and you go. This is the way these guys are talking. It's a long distance between Russia and London, okay? And if London is gonna fall, they're gonna run to the United States of America or to India. Oh, they don't have India as a colony anymore. Remember, it was a woman, the queen, colonizing everybody, Britannia. All right, so this is two examples I wanted to just point out how smart they are and how entitled they think they are. Do you think they're good? Well, if you want to look for another baboon, I want you to look at Annalena Baerbock. Where is Annalena Baerbock? The previous foreign minister infantile of Germany. from the party Green, about 5%. 10%? Oh, my bad. All right, a communist. The Greens are communists. I know. I mean, take it however you want. They have socialist tendencies. They are to the left. They're not to the right, just so you know. Now, how far depends on the imbecile in charge of the party. So, Annalena Baerbock, you can listen to her and see how smart she is. Another Kaja Kallas. She is right now the president of the United Nations General Assembly for this year. Now, again, what credentials she had? I want you to tell me what credentials she had. Intelligence definitely looks, I mean, once or twice, but that's about it. And if it's dim light, so you can imagine things over there. Oh, you look like Sophia Loren here. No, my bad. All right, so here is these baboons, and you want the other one that I always like to mention is Liz Truss, the foreign minister of Great Britain, and then she was also the Prime Minister of Great Britain. And the moment I knew she was an imbecile was and full of hatred was when she went and met Lavrov. I think it was she went to Moscow and she met Lavrov together with the UK ambassador to Moscow. And Lavrov asked her if, I don't know, Slovyansk or well, let's get something else. Saratov, let's say Saratov. If Saratov should be, we can keep Saratov, and she said, no, we will never agree with Russia keeping Saratov. And the ambassador kicked her, yeah, with his hoof, kick. He said, Miss Stupid, ignorant, Saratov is Russian, has been Russian, there's no discussion here with Ukraine. Oh, my bad, no. So her hatred thought, she did not know, instead of saying, I don't know what region are you talking about, instead of being an imbecile, you say, well, I don't know, I don't have to know everything, but I don't make a fool of myself by implying that I know what you're talking about, and then you get caught with your pants down. Instead of saying, excuse me, where is this Saratov? I'm not familiar with it. Oh, Saratov is blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, on the map? No, I mean, it's your country, man, it's your, but we disagree with Donbass. But she thought that the guy was talking about, I don't know, Kharkiv, Kharkov, Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporozhia, and Kherson, and how do you call it, Crimean Peninsula. That's what she thought in her head. She was unprepared. She was unprepared to talk to Lavrov about Ukraine. She did not know basic geography. All right, this is the level of our beautiful women that we love. I mean, I'm just kidding, but they are in power. They are in power. And look how great job they do. They're all for war. I'm guaranteeing you behind them are some men pushing all that. But hey, that means they make them weasels. And how do you call that? Participating in the crime as well? I mean, stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.